Oh my god, boys.
Perry has a multi-angle of us.
Um,
I do.
wow, guys. I think this is pod 29, 4-man pod. It's amazing. I'm really stoked
It's
that
a
we
full
got
house.
here. Perry, where are you, buddy?
Full house. I am just waking up in Japan. You're about to have some breakfast with me. Test out the Japanese yogurt and strawberries of the season.
Make sure you're extra.
Where are you guys?
Make sure you're extra slurpy so we get that fucking ASMR right in our earbuds.
Is that what you really want?
We are in Adil's office, and we've kind of jerry-rigged this podcast setup, but it's looking like it's pretty good. You're getting 3 different shots of us, so...
Yeah, I think we're coming along.
I'm set up on top of a rice cooker, so yeah, we're professional.
I mean, that's honestly not that different from kind of how it's set up here. You know, it's we managed to hide the setup part, but it's not that different from that. I mean, whatever works, right?
Yeah.
We make do.
I think the adage is we got to get to 100 podcasts, and then we're fucking pros. And again, we're not even at 30 yet, I don't think, so...
That's not the adage. The adage is make an improvement for each one. But I think...
Yeah, I was saying, are we going to go to 100 while still on top of a rice cooker? Or
Definitely. 2 rice cookers.
Okay. Yes.
No, that's cool. I'm glad we're all together. You know, we haven't done it... This is, Chris, is this our first pod in the same room?
Yeah, because I just moved back from Germany, Adil.
Holy fuck. You moved back from Germany. We haven't talked about that. We haven't done a fucking pod in forever. I thought I replaced you with Perry for a second.
You did. But now we've picked up Edwin semi-regularly, so...
TBD. Depends how long I stay.
Yeah.
But that can be a long-distance contributor as well.
Ed, where did you come back from? How long it's been?
I was in Bangkok for 5 months. I was in Asia for 6 months total, testing out snowbirding for the first time. You know, just living for the winter. Thought I had successfully avoided snow, but we have snow outside today. We had whiteout conditions, and it's nice, balmy 2 degrees. So still got a little taste of winter, but I definitely liked my taste of snowbirding, and I also think, why would I leave it to winter only?
That's just called moving, then.
Oh, man.
It's true.
It's true. I'm just moving.
Yeah.
I'm snowbirding year-round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never winter.
Never
Love
winter.
that feeling. I had a short experience of that with my 5 weeks in Turkey, leaving cold, rainy Scotland, and I don't want to go back. Like, winter in Scotland is not fun. So, yeah, I feel you. What was the best part of it? What was the best part of it, Edwin?
I definitely think I got really used to just how convenient things are, specifically food delivery, grocery delivery, transport. They have like basically a really good service there called Grab. So it's a lot like Uber Eats and whatnot, except it doesn't cost you 3 times your item price. And it's really convenient. You can get anything you need delivered very quickly. Let's say, I don't know, we needed an iPhone stand or something. You know, you could have one in 25 minutes, just dropped off. You wouldn't have to meet the guy. There's no tipping culture expected for any of this stuff, or, you know, it's minimal. It's just very convenient. And it's like, I don't know, it takes out a lot of the minute inconveniences here. Let's say you're cooking some stir fry at home and you're like, oh, I wish I had shallots. It's like, oh, no problem. For $1.35, shallots will be at your door in 15 minutes, dropped off to you by a driver. And it's like here, it's like, it'd be $15, and they still want a tip on top of that just for going to the store and driving it, which is fair because it takes time.
How does anyone make money for $1.35? Is it just low cost of labor? Like, who's making money there?
Honestly, it is really low cost of labor. And actually, on that note, I was a little surprised. So I took an Uber here, and actually I think the price of Ubers has dropped in Calgary from what I can tell, at least ride sharing. I think that's a supply-demand thing. You have way more people driving because you have lower jobs. So actually the prices come down. Like it was $10 for me to come down here, which is like totally fine for 10, 12
Chris,
minutes.
I think here's my theory, because I was living in Vietnam for a while in the last 4 years, right? It's actually, okay, so all the drivers, they don't have any English-speaking ability. So that's not their skill. They're all rural. So they all live like an hour or 2 hours out of the city. They're all really poor. They come from like poor rural areas, right? So like I saw some of the drivers, and they don't know how to speak English. They don't have, they're not part of the tourist economy, and that's the difference. I think they're really a step removed, and that's why it's so cheap. From my understanding, like the markup is they pay more in like the cost of gas and their labor, right?
Yeah, I mean they get small tips. Like it's like people do tip for delivery there, whereas like tipping culture is non-existent for most things, but it's pretty minimal. Like let's say you brought something, maybe they give 20 baht, which is like 87 cents, but it's like if you brought $100 worth of stuff, you still get 87 cents. It's not like a percentage thing, and most of the drivers, I mean, they just drive around their bike all day, and I've seen them drinking beer or maybe they're chewing the other stuff, whatever they take there. So it's it's pretty low stakes, I guess, and they don't really have too many other prospects necessarily. So maybe that's just like the simplification of the capitalist
So
system.
is the attraction then like the cost of living arbitrage rather, or is it actually because they're a more high tech society that's attractive to you, or a little bit of both?
It's a good question. I think cost of living is actually not that much cheaper if you want to live, a nice quality Western style life, right? Like you can live cheap. Yes, you can watch YouTube videos that say, "Hey, here's my condo for 300 a month." But if you want to get something comparable to what you would have living in like a Western capital with nice amenities, modern building, kind of maybe other tenants that you feel you would get along with, expats and stuff, it's going to cost you a little bit more. Maybe cheaper than here, but it's not that much cheaper when you want like a higher quality life.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of convenience factors overall, and I'd say I like things like transit. I'd say driving is a big negative for me coming back to Canada. I feel like just driving, 25 minutes a day on Deerfoot up and down is a pretty big negative. And I did a lot more walking there. Transit is pretty good. Traffic is bad as well, but if you're not the driver, you don't really care so much about traffic. It's a bit different when you're living somewhere versus being a tourist. I'd say it's similar to Adil's experience in Vietnam. Traffic is horrendous as well, but you're a passenger and you're not, purposefully driving somewhere. You're just in for the ride. And
I'm a motorcycler, buddy.
True,
I love
true.
it. That's part of the fun of Vietnam.
True.
I'm loving
True.
the bees swarming motorcycles. It's actually a
But
blast.
I'll echo Edwin also, like coming from Germany, the drivers here in Calgary are just fucking idiots. Like there's just so much bad driving. I feel like your life expectancy goes down just by being here. And if you have to commute half an hour a day, like each way, for sure your life expectancy goes down. Or you just get rear-ended or something and suffer like whiplash, and then you got to deal with that for like multiple years. I just feel like there's so many impatient morons here. They're very emotional drivers.
Perry, what is it like? What's the traffic like in Scotland? Is that right?
Scotland's shit.
Wait. But
Scotland
you're in
and
rural Scotland, so isn't it like majestic, windy roads and like I don't know?
Yeah, but well, especially right now. So I was just out in the Outer Hebrides, which is like Western Scotland, and that's super rural, like hyper rural. But it's tourist season, so getting out there, you drive from Inverness. It's about an hour west, and it's on these like winding roads. It's absolutely beautiful. But with tourist season comes a bunch of people who don't know how to drive on the right side of the road, and also don't understand how to travel on one lane traffic, or one way traffic, not one way traffic, one like single track road we call it, where you have a single track and there's little passing lanes through the mountains and blind corners and shit like that. So I would say like the skill cap of drivers in the UK is much higher. So like people are actually just better drivers. They're still assholes. Like, and you get down into what we call the Central Belt, which is like Glasgow, Edinburgh, or down into England. So like actually coming back up when I picked up my car 2 months ago, I was driving from London all the way up to Inverness, which is a 9-hour drive, and I watched. So in the UK, as you drive, it's actually illegal to undertake people. So you drive fast in the left lane, drive slow in the right lane, and it's actually illegal to drive and like pass somebody in the right lane, and it's something they teach you in your driving school. So I was on this like 4-lane road, and there's another good part about UK driving is they don't actually design merge lanes. Like merge lanes are 100 meters long, so you on the flowing traffic, you have to let people in,
I,
which is quite interesting.
I don't know.
As opposed to like you as the merging traffic letting people in. But so, anyways, long story. I watched some guy as me and another van split and moved out of the way to allow a truck to merge, like a big semi truck. And this van came up behind us and split between us, then almost got crushed by a truck.
The Mac Mini.
As he was
speakers.
passing the truck, he threw a Red Bull outside the window at this truck. And it was like,
What were you talking
the
about?
end of the story was truck driver getting road raged with a Red Bull by some idiot van driver. So anyways,
That sounds like
going at 100,
sounds like Alberta.
110 kilometers an hour. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, point of my story is there's shitty drivers. They have more skill in the UK.
Well, Ed, what you were saying earlier reminds me of. I mean, I completely agree. I hate commuting, and I hate driving in rush hour traffic, and I really appreciate like walking, and scootering, and just having free air around you. I think is so much better for.
Do you think you'd change your mind if you had a nicer car? Like if you were in a Bentley?
No, I think this is just something that I wasn't I wasn't used to driving when I was younger either. So I really like walking. I mean, I get double the steps. Like, my monthly steps is literally double when I'm there. And actually, I think like people that live there actually don't walk that much because they're like, it's too hot. Rather just take a bike or some other method of transport. But I like walking. I mean, I walk in Calgary when I can. It's just the weather is not good for it half the year.
You also got jacked. If nobody's told you that many times since your Asia trip, like you're looking fit. You had a
Yeah, it's
personal
good.
trainer or something.
Yeah. I mean, Pat got super jacked. He's like crazy monkey ape style. But yeah, I just had a trainer for 5 months. I'm doing remote training sessions with him here now. So
Nice.
I was actually not a believer in it. I was like, this is going to be bullshit, remote sessions. But actually, not bad. Keeps you accountable. But yeah, pretty good. I guess that's when you have no stress and you have time, you can really focus on health, which is important, obviously.
Okay, I
Is
think
that your first time with a personal trainer?
First time using the gym at all, started in January. And
Oh, wow.
just diet, that, and more protein. No supplements, no peptides, nothing else. Yeah.
You got it's called noob gains. Like
Yeah.
the first time you do it though, it's like the most enjoyable thing though, because you just
Yeah.
like it's just your body and your nervous system being like, oh, this is how I fire muscles properly, and
Yep.
then you just pick up like super rapid improvement, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I think there is one hack to solve the driving problem, and it's in Western countries or maybe Europe or even wherever traffic sucks. It's autonomous driving. It's Tesla. The mental load that autonomous driving takes off of you allows you to not feel the stress of driving. The car drives.
I think we kind of already have that though. It's called the bus. There's one
Yeah, I
guy.
was gonna say.
There's one guy not autonomous driving, but everybody else is, right?
But to be fair, have you taken the bus in Calgary? Because it's really
It's
bad.
horrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
Yeah.
we just got to take a hit.
Have
and,
you taken? Yeah. Have you taken transit in like Japan? It's just phenomenal. You get
Phenomenal.
anywhere. They move millions of people. It's like a whole different ballgame. So
I think
is the
there's-
answer to driving less driving and more, large beetles that fill with people?
I think no generation in North America wants to like take the hit because it's obviously going to cost a lot. That initial hit that costs a lot, and I think we're just all too fucking selfish to be like, well, I don't want to be the one that eats a giant tax hike to benefit everybody else. So then we're just stuck in this horrible prisoner's dilemma, where then everyone just goes buys cars, and then 99% of the time their capital expenditure is like literally doing nothing. Like if you're running a business, if you're running like a print shop where your like printers sat idle 99% of the time, it's like a terrible idea. And that's what people do with their $50,000 cars. They're like mostly not being used and depreciating. It's hilarious.
Completely agree.
Yeah, UK is very similar, and like most people don't actually buy their cars. Like everything is 3 to 4 year lease, and their interest rates, like they're just used to paying 10% interest on buying or on leasing a car for 3 years. Like, what is wrong with you people? And it's just so much ingrained that they have to have a car. And it's a
I think-
small island. Like, there's no reason why it couldn't have better transport than Japan. Small island, less people, but just so ignorant and so entitled. Like, oh, I must have my car, even though I can't afford good food.
I think we've also been marketed to say it's like a status symbol, right? If you don't have the fancy car, you can't get the girls, you're not cool. But I've had a fancy car. It only attracts men.
It's true. Only attracts men.
Girls don't care about that. You're better off getting a fucking dog. As Adil would probably know.
Dogs are a good crutch. Yes, get a dog.
Skip the car, get a dog.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I was walking around in Germany with my lady friend there, and men, we can identify like all the cars that are like parked on the road. It's like, oh, that's a Porsche, that's a BMW, blah blah blah. And then like women, or like she could do the same thing with like a dog, and I was just like, what is that? She's like, oh, that's a Pomeranian. I'm like, oh. So, yeah, get the dog.
Yeah.
Unless you're gay, then get the car.
Ooh, good point. Yeah.
I want to hear about Edwin. You just came from like some Pokemon. Was it just Pokemon or everything?
So I guess, on the topic of Perry saying people are bad with finances in terms of leasing cars. So I went to a Pokemon card show today at the New Horizon Mall. And actually, the place was rammed for it. Obviously, Pokemon has blown up a lot in the past couple of years. And I had a few cards that were sitting in my drawer that I ordered in 2023. Basically, like a complete free roll. Like spent like $120 or something. And I just feel extreme Pico Bubble top vibes. So I thought it was a good time to unload some of these. So I went there, walked around, talked to a few vendors, and it's totally different from going to a store, because a store, they've got expenses and they're giving you a significantly lower rate. But when you go to like a trade show or fair, actually the typical going rate that a vendor will give you on a high value card is 80 to 85% of like what's commonly listed online, which is actually like quite good liquidity on something like that, if you imagine. Because I'm bringing in like a $1,300 Pokemon card and they're giving me $1,100. The risk and the personal effort involved if I was to list it on eBay, and which still takes a fee, etc., is actually not that great. And I don't open myself up to personal risk, meeting somebody at like a Tim Hortons or something to try and sell this in person.
I have so many questions. So how did you get into Pokemon cards yourself?
So I'm not at all into Pokemon cards, just basically when you're heavily into online-based things and trading and whatnot, you often get into different communities. People are into different things, cards, sneaker flipping, etc. So people will ping you, be like, hey, you should go for this, it's going to be a good value drop, or you'll make some money on this. And so a few years back, this was for you make an order from Pokemon Center, and for every 2 tins you buy, you get a gray felt hat Pikachu, which is like this limited time collab, officially sanctioned between it's like a Van Hoff Pikachu looking thing. And basically, 2 tins, $20 each. So you pay $40, you get 1 gray felt hat Pikachu. I got a bunch. I told a few friends to get them, and they were $1,300 each now. So I went and sold them. 4 of them, got a little bit over $4,000. Happy to take the liquidity on that. But my experience there was really interesting because, I went later in the day.
Wait, sorry, Ed. I just want to reiterate this point.
He turned $40.
You turned $160 into $4,000.
Yeah, I mean these Pikachu's are 100x.
Okay, wait. How many years did that take?
Less than 3. I think it was late 2023. That
I saw this message, by the way.
Yeah.
I saw your message
hell?
to.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even do it. What, you were thinking about forwarded to you?
But did we know?
He didn't say it was going to become $4,000. He just
those
knew.
felt hat Pikachus were going to be $1,000 each?
Well, I mean, this happens with a lot of things. Like, this is why people line up at 5 a.m. at Costco to buy trainer boxes, because the market is so crazy for these. That it's an instant flip on a lot of these.
But did you know at the time it was going to be worth that much?
Well, they were worth like maybe 200 out of the gate, but over time they've really appreciated. And
why didn't you buy more? Why didn't you put your whole net worth into that?
Well, it's not that easy. I mean, you're competing with bots. You're limited per account.
Chris, I don't think you realize. I'll let you talk like Perry, but there's a channel full of you guys who
I've seen Twitter accounts with this. I want to be a part of it.
Well, wait, hold on, Chris. There's a bunch of private Discord channels where I see Ed and other people pitching a crazy idea every month or every 3 months. And most of the time, Ed's ones are winners. I just know them. Most of Ed's are winners. And then there's a lot of garbage out there, too, right? But I think if you just are paying attention, you can do it. Perry, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say, so was this like lottery and like how many Pikachu felt hats you could
No,
buy,
it sounded like
or
you buy two and you automatically get one.
yeah,
Yeah, I
but
mean
did
it
you
was
have
a
a limit
limited
of
run
like how many
promo.
packs of two you could buy?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could do like 2 orders per account, so it's like how many alts you can spin up in that time, and obviously, not
Mm.
everybody is set to multi-account and stuff. But it was interesting because like there was a couple of vendors, and you could just go up to people, you just talk normally. Oh, I'm looking to sell some cards. What do you have? And actually, like people were really impressed when I pull out this little stack of gray felt hat Pikachu's, because it's like I guess it's like $5,000 worth of stuff in front of them, even when they have expensive cards in the cases. But a couple of people that bought them, I think they were just people who had made a couple of big sales. So it's like, oh, they sold a card for 3,000 earlier in the day, so they're happy to drop $1,100 buying one of these that they wanted to. And then a lot of people also buying them. A lot of people ask me, have you got this thing graded? And grading is a whole another level of scam with cards, because basically you send your card away. There's different graders, but the biggest one is PSA. That's usually what people see when you have like first edition Charizard that went for 150,000 US or 400,000, whatever. But basically, you send your card away, and you hope that the centering is good. You hope that the guy looking at it thinks it's in perfect condition. There's no, little white marks on the corners. And if it comes back as a 10, suddenly your card that was, $1,300 Canadian is now worth 5,000 Canadian. So they look at them and they think, oh, this one, they judge that the centering is good, and they're willing to take the gamble to send it away and wait a few months for it to get a result. And it costs you like quite a bit for PSA grading too. But I think some of the people buying, like they were like, oh, want to split. It's like talking to their buddy. So basically, they'll buy it, they'll pay for the grading, and hope that they get a 4x. Because if it comes back as a 9 out of 10, it's probably break even or like kind of a wash, right?
But you didn't bother doing that.
I mean, I considered it, but I'm just not actually deep enough into this game, and I was actually really happy to take the quick 85% liquidity like cash out on this, right? I mean, he's basically sitting in the drawer.
There was some luck involved that Pokemon's run up in the last 3 years, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
The run up is Jake Paul like selling that $5 million card, and the whole.
Oh.
Isn't that true? And like the whole industry's grown a lot. But isn't this industry exist in a bunch of different ways as well? Like watches have this, sneakers have this. NFTs, art.
The problem is that don't you just have to?
Yes, go for it, Perry. You're up.
I want to ask an ignorant question. Like, when did Pokemon become big, and do we have any idea why? Is it just the trading, or is it actually playing Pokemon? Is it adults, children? Like, who's playing Pokemon
Both.
these days?
I mean, nobody plays. I don't think people play that much.
Yeah, people actually don't play the cards, and it's totally different. So if you compare it to a game like Magic the Gathering, Magic is completely based on playability. So like the power of the card scales to the value. So an older card that's playable is worth a lot more than like just an old card that's old. Whereas in Pokemon, it's like 100% about vibes. So people love Pikachu cards. People love like Charizard. They like the big shiny ones. And actually, the gacha style that they have for these things is like, it used to be like you buy a pack of cards, you have one rare card, like, and then they added mythic rares, which is like a more rare. But then like Pokemon takes it to like the next level. They have like shiny, they have like foil, they have like ultra foil, they have like all sort of VMAX, these different terms. And it's basically it's basically a scratch ticket, right? You open a booster pack, say the booster pack costs $10, and like a lot of times you'll get less than $1 worth of cards. By 1 out of every 2,000, you might hit a card that's like a few hundred bucks.
Gambling for kids. No, wait a second, Chris. You ever played Pokemon growing up?
I played Magic a little bit.
Perry, you ever collect Pokemon, or you didn't never play Pokemon growing up?
I was a big Magic player for years.
So you guys must have been a year out of this.
One of the first time I met Chris. We were playing Magic on my bus trip, on my bus in junior high, and Chris called us nerds for playing Magic. And then I find out Chris plays Magic, so...
So I was calculating it out the other day, because I was wanting to see what the trend cycle was for Pokemon cards, like you're describing. And it's when did Pokemon come out?
30 years. This is a 30-year anniversary
1996, right? But that's Japan. When did Pokemon come out in North America?
Shortly after, within
I think it was two.
Maybe 2 years.
2 years later, I believe, right? So I was looking it out, and I think Charizard First Edition, right? A North American version. That 1998, 1999 when it first came out, right? And it was, I think they were worth, I don't know, $30 to $100 when they first kind of came, and then slowly, and incremented in pricing. I think there was a huge boom in 2001. From my understanding, like that went up in price like $200 or $300, and then you had a huge boom in 2007. Continued to go up. That's 10 years later, where Charizard First Editions are like $800, right? And then I think your next few cycles, I don't completely know them. One of them was definitely COVID. COVID was a gigantic Pokemon cycle because everybody was at home. All Pokemon rushed up. I believe by COVID times, Charizard First Editions aren't, they're not $1,000 anymore. They're like, I want to say like
They're already more than that, but
they were like 100,000. They were like $1 million. I'm not sure how much they were.
I mean,
I think it was like 50. What are they worth now? What do we know?
Yeah, so actually it's quite different because usually the big astronomical numbers you see is for a PSA 10,
Correct.
which is like extremely rare for old things because as a kid you played with them, you didn't just leave it like a top loader, and then how are these things kept, right? Like it's like you weren't 8 years old putting this in like a vacuum seal place with no storage. Maybe it's in your parents' basement, and then maybe there was a big snowfall one year and they had like a leak or something, right? So when you see the crazy numbers, it's for mint condition, the highest demand things. But I would say, yeah, usually there's a few catalysts that push things high, and the thing that's actually pushing it now is quite interesting because it's the intersection of what which is blockchain. So there's actually a lot of online card sites now, and so basically you can rip a virtual pack, or you can basically spin a virtual spin wheel. So it's like a casino. So it's like, hey, I want to spin this $100 pack, and actually the EV of the pack, like the expected value of all the cards in here, but some of them are like shitters, but it's like the shitter is still worth a lot. It's like a random card that you don't care for. So let's say you pay $100 to make a spin, and the actual EV is 110 on the pack. So it's like, oh, that sounds pretty good. So if you can request a mail out of any card you get. But the thing is, when you get your card, it's an 85% payback to the site. It'll cash you out instantly for 85. So you get 110, but then you cash back at 85. So you're actually losing a little bit to the house. The EV is actually negative. But for them, the proposition looks great. Because like if you actually want to collect the card, you're like, oh, my $100 spin is actually getting me more. And Perry, actually, it's a big market in Japan because obviously Pocket Monsters came from Japan originally. And one of the reasons why I feel the top is kind of near for that is because I was watching a video about Pokemon card stores in Japan. And actually, Magic card stores and Pokemon card stores are actually kind of like a niche thing in Japan, but there's a lot of them in Tokyo because it's a huge city. And Pokemon is obviously big there. But basically, in 1 year, a lot of the cards, basically there was good rates versus the rest of the world in Japan, and also like Japanese cards, which always carry a novelty for people. But in the past year, a lot more people will make a trip to Japan just to go buy cards and hit up all the stores. So that no longer is there deals, and you actually have dealers going there and like trying to snipe stuff to bring back to North America. And to me, that's just insanely toppy because I'm like, okay, once you're hitting like foreign markets to bring these things in, like where's your liquidity coming from, right? Like you've actually like drained everything.
So wait,
right?
you're calling it top. What are you saying?
I mean, I'm personally comfortable with that. I'm planning on relocating, and I'm also just like, I don't want to keep these tins and cards. And
he's called it a top just because he sold them all.
I realize he's calling it top because he sold them all today. Obviously.
Yeah. Or I mean, like like there's always like, oh, it's like, oh, you should hold these, but it's also it's like if everyone's telling you to hold them, I've participated in NFT flipping for a long time, right? So it's like the people telling you to hold things also like personally hold them as well, so they're incentivized, like community wise.
What I think out loud is, okay, marketing grows, and this takes time. Disney's been around, I don't know, 80 years or whatever it is. It takes time to grow a brand, and it becomes valuable over time. And that's why, as much people are shitting on NFTs, watch, there'll be a resurgence. You're only really 7 years into NFTs.
But you can't really predict what's going to be popular. So
Correct.
Do you just have like a house full of junk waiting for various like things to peak?
You got to buy gold Rolexes.
Like how much of the crap do you have that's just worth $50?
Not very much. I mean, the thing is, like, if you are someone who has enough Pokemon cards to buy a house, but you don't have a house, should you keep these Pokemon cards, or should you be buying a house, right?
Were you also collecting Beanie Babies at one point, Edwin?
I mean, I'm not collecting these things. These cards were literally just something I bought when someone was like, hey, buy these, they'll appreciate. And I was happy to take the liquidity on them. I was going to say that just the level of hyper gambling that you can see in person is crazy. So when you go to like these card shows and stuff, and even stores, everyone does like repackage or like blind box or like spin the wheel. So here's a wheel. There's a bunch of booster packs on it. There's also a valuable card, $20 to spin the wheel or $75 for 5 spins. And you get whatever you want. Like, you land on whatever you get, right? But it's like, it used to be, if you wanted to make like a game like this, you'd have to have like a charitable thing. You'd have to have a license, right? Like, it'd be playing at like a Stampede or something, and like it's licensed. But here it's like now like everything's just hyper gambling. And same with like these sites online, right? With these cards. And actually what's spiked the value a lot is a lot of these sites have bought up a lot of inventory of nicely graded cards so that they can put them in their vaults, right? Because like now it's like, well, you can cash in and redeem that card, but they have to actually hold it in their inventory. So that's actually caused a spike in a lot of them.
So Perry, do you not collect anything do you collect anything that you have ever resold for profit?
No.
Nothing.
I think I gave away all of my Magic cards, which I probably could have sold for something.
So
but
Chris,
they would all have
I think
like
you
used,
collect
so,
things.
no.
Like you collect cars and watches, but you never sell them either, right?
We had this talk yesterday. I don't collect them. I own one.
Fuck. You own one.
I have one nice watch I like to wear. I have one nice car that I like to drive. To call me a collector would be completely untrue.
So yeah, you're a collector of one. So
I
Perry,
like nice shit.
Perry,
You
are you not a
use.
collector in some ways? You don't collect anything. You don't collect watches.
I mean,
you don't high end.
I collect climbing gear.
Ooh, there we go.
I collect climbing gear, but
I think
so
that's
that's
a commodity.
that's more of an addiction.
Wait, maybe
Yeah.
not. Okay, wait. Do you have valuable does all your climbing gear depreciate? Isn't there any climbing gear that's worth more money?
I mean, I probably if I hung on to it for 200 years, it'd be not an heirloom, an antique, and yeah, then it would appreciate. But
I mean, those
no,
ropes fray
I buy it
once
for
you.
use.
You have to throw them away at some point because they stop being
Hey man,
ropes.
the shiny, colorful cams are really cool. They look like these cool mechanical devices.
I got one more
Yeah.
question for Edwin
You
though.
can also use them as art.
So
Go
like
for it.
you got
Alright.
people like spinning these wheels and stuff. Are they kids because they're like dopa monsters? Are they adults? Like what's the vibe of the crowd that was there?
So there's a decent number of families coming through with kids, and like mom and dad are like, hey, you each get $25 to go buy whatever you want. So there's all the little binders with $2 to $5 cards. It's like, hey, just pick the ones that you like, your favorite Pokemons. It doesn't matter about the printing, yada yada, because it's just for the vibes. And the kids enjoy that kind of stuff, right? But there's actually a lot of adults there that are actually like speculating, buying cards. There's like pretty good amounts of money moving around, right? I mean, like, the people that took my Pikachus off me, a lot of them were like, oh, cash or e-transfer, and like there is serious money moving around at this thing, and people are obviously speculating, and everybody's up on paper profits, and then when or if there's a liquidity crunch, then some people will be exit liquidity, right?
Can I ask one more Pokemon question, and then I want to pivot.
Go on.
My Pokemon question is like, do we think like so these speculators, are they ruining the game for kids? Like, are kids actually like, do the cards still exist for kids to play or for adult kids to play if they want to actually play this game, or has
Well,
it just been turned into some collector's game?
I think speculating has ruined not just Pokemon, but many different hobbies. I mean, like, look at the Labubu toys, right? Everything is blind box nowadays. Everything is like speculative odds, but then also it's like, the people who actually want to use them or play with them, like kids or, girls or whatever, right? Like, they have to, all the resellers buy up all the stock. You could say the same thing for the ticket industry, which you guys have experience in as well, right? So
I disagree. I disagree that it appears to ruin the sport, but I think it ruins it for people who are addicted to gambling or addicted to like speculative like manipulation and money. But there's a lot of people who play Pokemon games and Pokemon on their
Does it
phone.
not drive up price? Does it not drive up price?
So
for
the card
average
market is different from
gambler?
everything else, right? So the card market, and actually, like I said, many people don't actually play it. So like a kid is just happy to get like his favorite Pokemon, even if it's like
But
a
it's
non-valuable
because he's
print.
watching Pokemon though. Like
Yeah.
there's anime. They're watching anime.
Yeah, but I mean the speculative part is like, let's say you want to get a new Pokemon set for your kid, and Costco carries them, but there was 700 people lined up from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. to go in to buy out the entire supply, right? And now it's like your kid wants one of these. I mean, it's like same thing happened with toys in the past, right? Remember Furbies and the other things that were speculative or hype at that time. It's just that this is a long time sustainable one, right?
But remember, the one reason why, okay, here's my intuition on why Pokemon's doing, J curving. It's when we were young, or people even younger than us, or older than us, saw Pokemon growing up in their teens and 20s and university days. They have kids now, and they're trying to show their kids what they grew up with, right? And that's why you're getting this new hype cycle, because it's generational. It's hit the generational mark, right?
But the scalpers, the flippers, the people like trading this for profit, they are not the family demographic, right? Like I don't think these people are starting families, right?
There's rich people and there's poor people. Poor people play Pokemon Go and collect, 10 cent items, and then there's medium rich people who, throw around with, hundreds of dollars, and there's fucking rich people playing millions of dollar Pokemon cards. Like, I think it's just, there's different levels of it. And that's the good thing about, having an ecosystem that can support it all.
It's the people who have no kids who have disposable income.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. We were talking about $9 beers, right? What were you saying yesterday, Chris?
That we could just go out and drink in the park? No, I don't know.
You were saying that. You were saying drinking in the park is just as awesome as having a $10 beer in the pub.
100%.
It's just...
That is something I miss in Europe, right? You can just drink outside, go to the convenience store, buy a half liter of beer for $1.50, and just sit on some steps or on a park bench and drink with your friends. You don't need to spend $80 getting fucking ripped off at a pub just to have a pint in the sun, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, but here people do that with like a backyard barbecue or something, or you can. I mean, that's also really nice. You don't have that so much in Europe because people don't have big lots. They don't have big backyards.
I think the problem is if you're in a backyard, your 10 friends have driven to your suburban house and they can't really drink and drive. So the odds of that actually happening are just so much less because there's so much like friction to it. Or everybody Ubers and suddenly it's like $500 worth of Ubers across the whole party for people to get there. So it's just like less likely to occur, right? Like there's always all these barriers of making that happen.
But I mean, you still have to get somewhere in Europe if you're doing that, right?
Yeah, you scooter drunk. You walk drunk. You bicycle drunk. That's very illegal in Japan, by the way. Perry,
Same in Germany,
don't
though.
bicycle drunk.
Transit also closes at a certain time. It's like midnight, 1 a.m., right? So if you're going out, you're having a late night, you still have to one-way taxi at least, right? You can take transit out, but
I'm stoked to learn that I'm in the scooter zone. My house is in the scooter zone, so I can scooter.
You live in Bridgeland. Why wouldn't it be in the scooter
I don't
zone?
know. I'm on top of a hill. I didn't realize. Well, the scooters just came out. Okay, the scooters
If
came out.
Bridgeland
from
wasn't
their
in the scooter
hibernation.
zone, we'd all be fucked. Come on, how small would the zone be?
When I was in
It's pretty small.
Bridgeland, it was like it was at the edge of the car-to-go zone. Like that was so ridiculous. But that was 15 years ago.
Yeah, well, we don't even
And
have car to goes
it was
anymore.
still a little sketchy. Yeah, that's sad. That was a great service.
Great service.
Japan is like the ultimate example of that. Like, hey, you can drink out, but then like people have to decide at 11:30. It's like, am I catching this train home or am I staying at till 5:30? Because it's
Yeah.
$150 taxi or even 200. Because even if you're a tourist, it's $100 taxi for you around the green ring, like to get home from going out in Shibuya or whatever. And then if you're
Perry, have you had to make that choice yet? Have you done the 5 a.m. train?
No,
I doubt it. He has.
I'm not exactly a drinker.
Chris,
Adil, so
have you
no.
done the 5 a.m. train in
Yeah,
Japan?
Chris knows me.
Yeah, of course. I went to one of those bars where they send you the comfort women, and when I walked out of there, the sun was blue sky. It was 9 a.m. They really get you.
I've yet to experience that. Yeah. See that'd be an interesting. I feel like I have to do that once.
Okay,
But,
Perry, what did you
maybe
want to
next
pivot to?
weekend.
What did you want to pivot to, by the way? You
What's
had some idea on your
Oh,
mind.
actually, my idea is I wanted to hear from Chris and his. You've been home for a month now. Like, how
3
did the whole
weeks.
move go? Like, yeah. Oh,
It was
sorry. Rounded you up.
surprisingly easy to leave Germany. You just gotta deregister because the government actually tracks whether like you live in a city or not. You always have to register with a city. But then coming back to Canada, they don't care. And I think the hardest part with that
Yeah.
one-way ticket is when you fill in your customs. It's like you'd have to tell them which you're a resident of, and like right now I'm still like in an Airbnb, so I'm kind of in transition. But honestly, I don't think it was pretty easy. Like going somewhere is much harder, right? Because it's like they have to kind of let you in as anything beyond a tourist. But like, I guess it's like my right to come back to Canada. So it's like you didn't have to get like permission to go back to a place where.
Well, I mean, you still have finances to do. You also brought like 6 suitcases. Is that right? 6?
Yeah, and my flight was in such a bad time. I just brute forced it. Like I just checked in my bags across multiple events. I couldn't carry 6, so I just went to the airport twice, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like I took my bags, checked in, then went to get my other bags.
At home? Wait,
and brought
you
those.
double Ubered? You double Ubered?
No, I didn't Uber. I had my company car, and luckily, like my work is right by the airport. But I literally spent an hour checking myself in, so I couldn't think of a smarter way to do it, and it was fine. I'm such a hi-fi nerd, though. I hand carried my high-end speakers in a tote bag, and because I was like, I don't want to check these, I don't want to ship them.
Yeah, fair.
So it's good.
It's
and
basically how you bought them, where we carried them across.
I threw the box away. I literally carried them in a tote bag, wrapped in blankets and stuff. So
Did you give up tax residency when you went to Europe?
I did.
You did. Wow. Okay.
Because if you're out of Canada for 180 days, you have to.
That's not true.
Well,
It depends on the ties that you have to Canada.
there's no hard and fast rule, but like me
correct.
actually leaving Canada for 2 years, I think was pretty black and white.
I think it just depends on your ties here. Because like if you have property here, if you have banking here, there's a lot of things that change, right? So I mean, we know.
But he was working full time in Germany.
Yeah, but we
as
know
a
someone
ties.
who's living in Mexico for 5-6 years and he's still a Canadian resident.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
I feel like I've met plenty of
That's-
people.
yeah, you
You know,
do.
because I mean, you're paying taxes. in
It's a
Canada,
choice.
right?
It's somewhat of a choice, and it depends on the audit,
it's
right?
not. I mean, it's really there's huge financial implications. Of
Sorry,
it,
so
right?
the choice is you making the risk of choosing wrong, right? But you can choose
You can
on your
ask-
tax firm.
You
I
can't
don't think
choose.
so.
It's
I don't
determined by the
think so.
CRA.
What do you mean?
You don't
No,
choose. It's
you
not
don't
a
choose.
choice.
Well, you file. You
right,
choose.
but they make a determination based on your
Sure.
connections, right? Like if you have a
Yeah,
property
you
here,
attempt
if you have
to
banking,
file a certain way. Sure.
and then also like let's say they can hit you with the exit tax on your assets, right? So like if you have any capital gains on property or
Yeah.
stocks in a
Well,
new
did you have to deal with all that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
deferred mine.
yeah,
It's a pain in the ass.
yeah.
Now, so I don't know if I actually did it optimally or not. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like it's quite complicated. So that's why I was curious if you did it or not, because to go that path and give up tax residency and then to come back and reclaim it, it feels like there's definitely like some slippage.
it's
along the
definitely
way,
it's
right?
definitely a lot of work. I thought about that loophole though, because if you're actually like bullish on the stock market, and let's say you had like a fair amount of capital gains, you set a new adjusted cost basis when you come back. So basically, all the gains you enjoy, let's say you move to like a no tax jurisdiction, and they didn't tax you on that. It's like if I went anywhere but Germany, which is a high tax situation. But let's say you moved to Dubai, where there's no tax, you could go hit like your 20x pharma stock that you had insider info on, and it 20x's, pay zero tax in Canada on that, and then come back and set a new adjusted cost basis on the day you re-enter.
Hey, I got a question for you. Is it the day? Is it the time? What's
the day.
Okay, so I know this, and I built an app for this actually. So I have a friend who has several tens of millions in crypto, right? And I designed an app that screenshotted the crypto prices for every 5 seconds for that entire day, right? That he was traveling back to become a tax resident. So we could cherry pick out the best cost basis, which was smart, right? And I think that's the way to do it. I mean, it depends. You can justify it whatever way you want, right?
I don't know if the CRA. The best way actually then is actually in Germany, your crypto gains are tax free. It's actually the only part of Germany where there's better tax treatment than
Didn't know that.
Canada.
Did not know that.
So if you were bullish on crypto, you should just go to Germany and trade crypto. It's like their tax code hasn't caught up, and so all crypto gains are tax free there.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the time stamping thing is that in Canada, apparently, I think next year they're allowed to request the trade information from exchanges, right? So it's like the timestamp will be there. I mean,
Well, the timestamp is
what the fuck
when
are you
you
doing? Are
change
you gonna-
countries.
You're gonna
That's
come
the
back
timestamp.
with your boarding pass and be like, I landed at 323, and that was the
No,
price
no.
of the crypto when I hit
No.
soil.
No,
we're
talking
talking
about, like, when you
take a
use a platform.
screenshot of what you say the adjusted cost base is, and you're proving that the adjusted cost base. I took a screenshot on the day of, and that was my proof.
But
right?
why do you need one every 5 seconds?
So I
Is
can
it
pick the
really that
optimal
much?
one. Took the optimal one for the day. Make sense?
I mean, it's like it could be like a 5% swing, right? Like let's say it ran 5% that day, but you log it as at the lowest price of the day, right? But I mean, you could
Literally
also
optimizing the
you
5%
could also
on
just look
millions of
this up on
dollars.
historical data and take the lowest recorded price.
But the
right?
key is to screenshot it so you have the timestamp in the corner of the laptop. It looks
I don't know if the
perfectly proof.
CRA's really.
They don't really give a fuck. They
This
don't really
seems
give
like
a
a
fuck.
lot of effort. This seems
They're
like
so-
a lot of effort.
Well, hey, I was being
Just
paid to
like,
do
bro,
it.
get the fuck
I
over
did it. It was
All
fun.
right.
So anyway, I had
So-
the paper file because my taxes are so fucking complicated.
Mm-hmm.
I just got reassessed for my 2024 like 3 weeks ago, so they're
Yeah.
so far behind.
Yep.
They're so understaffed.
Yep.
Well, they don't get paid enough. This is the problem. Nobody. Okay, smart people don't do public service. Smart people don't do nonprofits. This is the problem. This is what I was telling you yesterday, Chris. You should quit all your profitable enterprises and start working nonprofit because
No,
for
no,
the
no.
better good. Is that
Oh,
what I was saying?
now we have Edwin here. We can actually fact check the advice you gave me.
Okay, what's the fact? check?
Adil at the bar yesterday said that because I'm very good at like making money, and I'm single though. It's like he said I should just become a DJ to get girls
Exactly.
and not earn any money at all, and just be a DJ because that's a way
Well,
cooler job.
I feel like DJ is actually not a cool job anymore because way too many people know how to DJ and like anybody with a laptop. And I mean, they're just picking.
Okay, well, I mean,
the
okay,
Afro house
DJs.
song
I didn't
they
say
like, right?
DJ. I said bartender,
You gotta
DJ.
be a creative. You gotta be a creative DJ, like not just somebody who's hitting play and the occasional track selection. Like you've actually got to have the skill and be creative. Then you're interesting. But yeah, if
Edwin,
you're just
Edwin
the
wants to know how many
average party
Spotify listens you have, you scrub.
You know what? I feel like so
What's the aggression? What's the aggression, Christopher? I'm feeling attacked right now.
well, Chris really took a comment I made previously about
it's so
Spotify
good.
listeners
It's so
like
snobby.
out of context because it's like.
Tell that story again. It's so funny.
Well,
It has such a good laugh.
It was just about when you meet people that are doing different things, it's people love to represent that they are really high profile at something, and in this case there was an American guy and he was talking about new album and all these singers he was working with and stuff, and we had another friend with us, Victor, who's not in the scene at all, and after I left he's like, yeah, that guy was talking a lot, like I mean he sounds like he's a pretty big deal, and I like showed him like he has like 300 monthly listeners on Spotify or something, and I was like, it's part of the game, it's just everyone's always trying to talk up a huge game and act like they're a big deal. And he's like, is that a lot? I don't know what that means. And I was like, well, I have like 40, 50,000 and like I'm nothing in it, right? So it's like, I'm just like, you can't really go based on what people say. I mean, just like any experience you have, if you talk to any sort of creative person in any sort of space, right? Everyone's always trying to oversell themselves. Any DJ, any person that says that they're a DJ, they're like, oh, I'm playing 9 o'clock at like this place when there's nobody there, or they're like, oh, I play like I'm DJing for free for like a rooftop party because it's fun, or I'm DJing at like
That's me, bro.
Oh, totally. Perry, well, hey, Perry, you DJ'd Chris's 40th birthday, which was fucking dope. So good job on that, buddy. And you flew in from Scotland.
I'm exactly
so.
that, Edwin.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with
yeah.
that. But I'm just saying, like he's asking if being a DJing. He's asking if DJing is like a high status thing, and I think it's like a nice part of the creative profile to have. But I think like it's like there's so many people that are DJs nowadays.
What did
right?
you just? Okay, what was the spot you just DJ'd in Calgary that I missed? I heard you had some kind of guest list with Chris or whatever. But
No, he didn't DJ. He was
you
just
didn't DJ. I thought you played.
audience.
Oh, he was audience. So I thought you were
That
playing.
was Elon Bluestone.
Oh, you and Bluestone, cool. Would you ever do Calgary shows?
I the problem is because I'm from here, you're just considered like a local, right? So like, and actually that's kind of changed a bit because when I used to go out a lot more, and I guess like the kind of scene that Chris got into, and usually how it is globally is more around like a headliner, and then like the acts the local people would support, and I think that's actually changed quite a bit with Gen Zs because Gen Zs they party differently. Like we used to go out and you pre-drink for a while and you go out late and you just pretty much go to the bar like 11:30, you watch the headliner and whatnot, but like Gen Z's, because they don't drink, they don't have that pre-gaming part, they just go early, they maybe take other things, and they don't care so much about like the big headliner as about like vibes, and it's a totally different marketing style, so like even DJ culture is different in that sense, right?
So can I
Go ahead, Perry.
is that changed then? Has that changed like the opening DJ set now? So is the opening DJ set?
I don't think so. I feel like
the problem
is,
or is it just different?
Well, at least like what I viewed for it was that everyone just wants to play bangers. Everyone watched like Hardwell
Isn't that
play
rude?
Ultra at like
That's
2014.
considered rude.
Yeah, but everyone that
that's
got a
terrible.
DJing
It's
is like
awful.
they saw EDC, they saw Ultra, they see the main stage. They're like, I want to be that guy. So then they just play. They got into big room. They got into like big room trance, big room house, progressive house, right? And they want to play all that stuff. And that's typically not what you're expected to do if you're the opener or the locals, right? But etiquette has gone out the window. It's
So that's why I'm wondering, is that changing? So you're saying it's like the way people are partying is changing, and people are showing up at 9 o'clock, ready to go. Has that changed the opening DJ set at all? And so, because I felt like it was a big skill to be able to like draw that line as an opening DJ of like playing something that's enjoyable but not super high energy. So has that changed at all, or is that changing? Or
it
is
depends.
That still a skill that you're looking for?
If there's a headliner, they could have like a specific request for this. Like for example, my friend was playing the Anjuna show, this Elon Bluestone show, and so he's requested don't play faster than a certain BPM, 124. Don't play anything related to these acts, like on the label. Don't play anything from the main label. Don't play any mashups of this stuff. Like there's like a certain requirement for it, right? And therefore, like the local DJs have some level of vetting that they'll keep to this requirements. Otherwise, they won't get booked for future ones. I do think like everyone knows there's like a kind of an art to it. It's like about how to build the energy and get the vibe in for people when people aren't really messed up and when the volume isn't like 110 dB, right? Like it takes work to do that. But then like also a lot of people that get into it, they just want like the hands in the air, like they want the big attention part of it because that's how they're introduced to it, right? By going to a festival, by seeing a stream of it. So yeah.
Wow, so cool. Perry, have you? When was the last time you DJ'd? Just Chris's party, or
Yeah.
have you done anything else since then?
No, after that, I also did like a little, how can I say it, a little thing in Turkey. My last night there.
Whoa.
They set up a bit of a party. So yeah, we had a campground party. So there's this German guy who's living in his van who had a huge setup, like loudspeakers and everything. So yeah, I played on his kit right before I left Turkey.
Cool. So you do some like
which was-
home spots. I mean, Ed, I don't see you do that often. You're
yeah.
more producing, I guess, right? But Perry, you're doing like home DJ spots, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, mine is just like if the vibe fits and I feel like I want to. How can I say it? I was listening to you guys talk a few weeks ago, and you're talking about like your wallflowerism at Chris's parties, and like that's what I do at parties. Is like after a while I often just get overwhelmed by being at the party. It's like I still want to participate, and so how do I do that? By curating music that my friends like, and so that's really why I end up DJing a lot, is because like it's a little bit of an artistic outlet for me. Yeah, I'm just throwing other people's music together, but I think I'm pretty good at it. And then I get to participate in the party, but not have to talk to everybody, and actually have an excuse to not talk to them.
And are you getting the
So yeah,
girls
that's
or
more
no?
my vibe.
No, okay, circling back.
Plead the
Okay,
fifth.
okay, wait a second. Circling back to the theory. The theory wasn't, jump into DJing. It was consider your job choices, and instead of always chasing financial gains, maybe join, don't stop thinking with your financial brain and jump into jobs or careers that are more female oriented.
Be a nurse. Like be a nurse or
Sure,
a
sure.
kindergarten
A nurse
teacher.
or like work for a cancer nonprofit or an
think-
animal shelter or one of those things, and that's how you get married with kids and happy.
Is finding a mate not just about like finding what you like and do it, and finding somebody who will
No,
do it
no,
alongside you?
that's not it.
Like
That's not it, Perry.
Dude,
Okay, we're all-
that's
Spoken like
only,
a white guy with privilege. Isn't it just like don't you just be yourself and then like the girls show up all the time? Isn't it just about being?
No,
Okay, wait a second,
man, you missed that.
Are we all failures at this, by the way? Sorry, looking around the room here. I think we're all failures. Congratulations, boys. This is why we're on the pod.
Failure at what? Speak for yourself.
Hey, I'm not saying objectively, like I'm not really calling you failures. I'm just saying society's calling us failures. Is what I'm saying.
Why
I don't
is
know
that?
if I agree with that.
I'm
Wait, you
Yeah,
don't agree with that?
yeah.
All of us are unmarried, no kids, in our 40s, practically. Okay, I take it back. We're gonna make it.
I mean, yeah. Interesting.
Okay, well, Chris, you're in
I think-
transition to your next career / wherever you go to. I mean, you're still working, of course, but you're thinking about it. You're back in Calgary. New changes. I don't know. Could choose a different path, right? And Ed, you're in a different path as well, buddy. Are you leaving here soon?
Possibly. I'm exploring that option, but yeah, I'm seriously considering that. It's just, I mean, if you're gonna enjoy retired life, you just enjoy retired life where you want to. And I always thought that when you travel to different places, like as a tourist, you always avoid rainy season, you avoid too hot season. But then actually things are different when you're living somewhere long term, right? It's like Perry, you've been in Japan for a little bit, and obviously I guess April, May are very desirable times to go to Japan. But like, people don't actually go to
July,
places
August is brutal.
that's too hot, right? Or people say it's too hot,
Yeah.
but like people said the same thing about
Yeah.
say Thailand, and I was there in April and it gets up to like 36, 37 most days. But when you're living somewhere, you kind of just maybe you stay inside in AC or use the pool, or like you're not out doing like a 10-hour walking tour of the King's Palace, right? Like, so it's a bit different when you live somewhere. Same with rainy season, right? Like people are always like, oh, it's rainy season somewhere, but typically in tropical countries, rains for an hour, cools things down a bit. Depending on where you are, it could be depressing if it's raining for several days straight. But I think it's a bit different, and I was always afraid of those kind of suboptimal tourist seasons, right? But I think you guys have also been to like Japan and stuff in the winter, and you lived there, and it's you just adapt, right? It's not that different, right?
I'm not a big fan of going during busy season, to be honest. I never like busy season. I like going on off days. I more enjoy it. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's a certain amount of saturation. Like I went to Mexico once in an off season, and the whole resort was empty, and there wasn't a single attractive person around, and it sucked.
Try DJing, or
I should have tried DJing.
But that's different because you're going to like a resort or like a place, and it's like a gray sky for like a week will actually make that worse, right? But like if you're somewhere for an extended period, you kind of just get used to these different seasons, and maybe you're like, I'll trade away like having blue skies for this month for 60% less people, and I can actually go to different restaurants and not wait and whatnot, right?
I don't like hopping too much.
But it's funny though. I think you guys are very like Asia guys. Like you guys are, because I've always been more of a Europe guy.
Dude, I want to become a Europe guy. Okay, and this is not on your financial level. That sounds great. Europe sounds great.
See, I got tired of Europe because I went to Europe every summer before going to festival, and so every year I look at the map and it's like there's less and less places I want to go, and I don't know. I just feel, especially post-COVID, right? Hotel prices are really crazy. Even within Canada, you're paying $300, $400, $300 for less busy places, $400, $500 during peak times. It's like outrageous, right? That's for like no, I mean anywhere in Canada. You want to go to the East Coast, you want to go to Halifax, you want to go to St. John's, you're going to pay $300 a night. I mean during June, July, it's crazy, right?
So I got a trip coming up.
Yeah.
So I haven't been on. Okay, wait. First of all, I haven't been on a trip in almost an entire year.
What?
Since China, I guess.
Since China.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Was that a year ago?
It was June, I think. May, June, right? So
that's when you got all the hot tubs and stuff. That was June.
Yeah. It's been that long. So I took a whole year off from traveling, which I didn't expect to. I kind of wanted to. I needed a break, So it's been an entire year, and actually it's been hard. Like we almost were supposed to go to Saudi in the last few months, but I didn't go. War and stuff, whatever. But I got a trip coming up, so I'm going to go to New York, June 7th for blockchain conference for a whole week, right? So it'll be sweet because I can see some comedy, but I'm planning on going to Africa actually. My dad's in Dar es Salaam, and I've never been to Africa, and I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go there for a couple weeks and see how it is. And it's stupidly expensive because of jet fuel prices, but
where in Africa? Like that.
Wait, Perry, have you been to Africa?
No, I just know it's a big continent. I'm curious where.
North,
south, east, west.
East Africa, Tanzania, Dar es Salaam is the city. I have two uncles there.
Is it coastal?
Yeah, it's coastal. So right off the coast, cool. I have two uncles there, and I don't know. I mean, I've heard about Africa growing up all the time, but I don't really know. I mean,
is it a direct flight, or where do you fly to from New York to there?
So I think there's a one stopover. From Calgary, there's actually only one stopover. You can go Calgary to Netherlands to Dar es Salaam, which is crazy. That's the flight my dad has. I think the flight for me, is New York to, I want to say Nigeria, and then East Africa. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try it out. So I've heard.
What's the language? Do you know what language they're
speaking, I believe
there?
Swahili is very popular in East Africa. Hakuna Matata is the one line I know.
I feel like that's the equivalent of going to like Kazakhstan and saying, very nice.
I had no idea that was Swahili though. Someone helped. It got into my head.
Yeah,
you got it. So that's the one line I know. My dad speaks fluent Swahili, by the way. That's a requirement growing up in Africa. Like you go through school, so he knows it fluently. My mom doesn't at all. So I don't really know what to expect. All I know is I've heard, in terms of Africa, I've heard Zanzibar is really nice. It's like an island off the coast that everybody talks about, like
touristy place,
turtles and stuff, beautiful beaches. And then everybody says go to the safari. And I've heard safari is actually really expensive.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll do exactly that. I'm going to try to find a different version of it. So we'll see. I've heard there's 5-star resorts.
I have to ask you a question. Like,
what's that?
So to each of you, is safari interesting? Like, zoos just make me uncomfortable in general. So is safari just going to be like a big zoo, or like?
But the animals are wild.
No, they're wild.
Because I know Chris but I know Chris, you like zoos, or you used to like zoos. You still like zoos.
Still like zoos. Still like aquariums.
Aquariums are cool.
Aquariums are pretty cool, even if
I think it's like.
So like what?
I've had the zoo argument with so many people.
Yeah, I don't like Japanese zoos. Fucking like.
I don't need to have an argument. I'm just curious. Like
Japanese
like
oil.
I mean, as long as it's not a
like
bear in a concrete hole that's in, like in East Germany.
Okay, Perry, have you seen like the owl cafes in Japan?
The owl cafes, the pig cafes, yeah, they got everything.
Like that's fucking sad.
Meerkat ones, they have all sorts of ones now.
No, okay, cat one is not so bad, but
Capybara?
fucking owls not being able to fly.
I went to the penguin bar, and that was really bad.
Oh,
that
terrible.
looked to me like animal abuse.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Really, Jesus.
But it's in Tokyo, by the way.
Yeah.
But I think like I think the most charitable way to make a zoo would be like these animals sacrifice themselves so that like children can have more like environmental awareness.
Totally,
Because like
totally.
people just they don't want to be told, they want to be shown. So like when they see the elephant, and even though that elephant might be having a horrible life in captivity, you make like a child care about elephants and about
Totally.
like conservation,
Totally.
right? So it's like, but if they never see the elephant, they don't get an understanding of it.
Exactly.
Just seeing it on TV doesn't make people like appreciate like the natural science of everything. So I think like zoos and aquariums, they have like their purpose, but I also understand why people don't want to have orcas in captivity or like dolphins in captivity, and I actually agree with that. But you know, they have their place of like spreading awareness, so it's sort of like a step backward for the greater good, because like most people are not going to be able to pay $20K to go on a safari and actually see and appreciate these things. So like a zoo, when you go there for $20, the safari is brought to you, and then like you get more empathy out of like children and the next generation and all that.
So Perry, I definitely don't want to go on a 5-star resort safari. That doesn't sound like fun to me. I want to go camping like a Canadian, and hopefully there's tigers around. You know, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be able
I don't
to.
think those exist. So,
You think that doesn't exist? That obviously exists. That
they
definitely
do.
exists.
I know my old CEO did that, where they like set up tents for them and they slept on the ground and like.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly where it was, but it was somewhere in Africa.
I mean, there's
And that would've
tribes
been,
that live
like-
next to the wild animals, I assume. There's not a fence between them. You just go with the people who don't go too close to the animals. You know, like you get binoculars.
Or they have lots of shotguns.
Yeah, exactly. You got lots of shotguns, and you know, you figure it out. I don't want a 5-star. That does not sound like fun safari.
so my understanding is that actually the luxury segment and like the private poaching and stuff that's permitted, like the super high end stuff, all of that is like kind of like in a way it's like a necessary evil because it generates a lot of money towards the conservation ecosystem. And it's like by having like these super high end, like let's say for example on the poaching side, not just the safari side, you know, if you offer these ultra premium ones, but then the money goes towards, you know, creating a, you know, like tracking and whatnot, then it actually disincentivizes or provides protection against poachers who will just, you know, kill elephants anyways because the value.
Yeah, I want to go hang with
right?
the poachers.
Huh?
Because they probably get better views.
Well-
of the tigers. Is
Hang
my
out with
assumption.
Well-
poachers.
Well, I mean, maybe not on the hunt, but like, you know, I bet they have all the knowledge of the real wildlife, right? Like, I want to go hang with the people who know the wildlife. I don't want to necessarily just go on the Jeep tour, you know?
I mean, like, there's
I wanna
like
be driving a Jeep.
there's actually probably a pretty good market for this kind of stuff because like there's enough people that travel via YouTube and go to different places and like they hire like a local fixer that will take them to stuff, right?
I want a local fixer. Local fixer sounds fucking
legit.
cool.
I
That's
think that
exactly what I
exists
want.
because like, you know, you've seen the ones where people go to like Haiti or like, you know, like the like different slums in different places. There's always, you know, for the right place, there's a fixer that will do this. For
You did
right?
this in Thailand. You did like an elephant tour or a tiger tour or
I
something.
mean, I did like I did one in Chiang Mai, which is like, you know, the general commercial thing. And nowadays, you know, it's like.
But you didn't get to ride the elephants, right?
I mean, it's like it's pretty well publicly known that like riding elephants is like is pretty
bad.
cruel. But you know, it's like what is the other gray area stuff, right? You know, like if you're feeding them or if you're allowed to splash water on them,
Or
right?
if it's
like,
a wedding,
like,
you have to. I mean,
I mean, it's kind of like it's like what's the. It's kind of the moral area because it's like, you know, a lot of these elephants already have their spirit beaten out of them because they worked in like forest, like deforestation, lumbering and stuff, or lumber carrying, and so it's like they would die on their own, and you know they seem relatively okay. So I don't know, it's not so easy that way. Like I really loved the experience. It was awesome to be able to like go up close and feed elephants and stuff, but it's like, you know, the full ethical way is like you only watch them at a distance and whatnot, right? You don't interact with them because that's not natural, right? But I was okay with it. The experience was like 100% magical for me, and I don't feel bad, and I felt like the place I went to was treating them well. So I give myself a pat on the back, and I don't keep myself up thinking about the morality of it.
nice.
Just like, you know, like if you go to like an aquarium in Japan, in Osaka or something, and you see a whale shark in a tank, you're probably like, this is so cool. I'm going to sit here for 45 minutes and watch the whale shark, not really think too much about the fact that the tank is really small for it.
I like the way Chris put it earlier, actually. I think I don't know. Overall, I think people just try their best. They try their best, and it made sense at the time. I don't know.
I think there's definitely
Nobody's
places
trying
that
to
are
be purposely
exploitative,
cruel.
right? The places that are like putting them.
Purposely try to be cruel.
Yeah, but there's a lot of places where they sedate animals. Like say for example, you go to a tiger one in Thailand or something, and you can take a picture with a tiger, right? Like I mean, there's no way that it's a it's sedated and like it kind of just drooping on you as you take a picture. I mean, I think for most of us that would probably cross the line, right? But then these places are still top attraction to do there. So everyone's got their own personal line. I mean, you could say the same thing for many other topics, recycling, etc., right?
Leave it to you to tie sedated tiger Insta shots to recycling.
I mean, like green, like it's the whole greenwashing and recycling is also another thing where it's like, how effective is it versus what you do, and like, what's your personal line for it, right? It's like, you go to other places and the garbage all goes into one place. They don't compost, etc. But here you do it, you feel good about it, and maybe it still goes out of the same place. You don't necessarily know.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of faith in recycling. I still do it, but it's like, you don't know if one guy just throws like a fucking chicken wing in there and then the whole bag just needs to get disposed of. Like at the end of the day, I think like the
that
sorting.
one bag is ruined though. If that one bag is ruined, doesn't mean all the other bags are ruined. So is that 1 out of 30 bags? Or even if it's like 1 out of 2 bags that gets ruined, that's still half of things that are getting recycling. Is that not better than nothing?
No, wait. The rule is if you spend more energy in recycling than you get out, then you fucked up, right? So I think all recycling, the problem is it's negative EV. You're spending more energy or more dollars to recycle when it would just be smarter to burn it. Or to
I guess it
throw in
depends
the
what the
trash.
energy is. Like, what's the energy input? Like, where's
Well,
it
no,
coming
it's
from?
equivalent. It's equivalent in scientific joules units. You can calculate it. Like
I tend to
like,
agree.
if your recycling plant is all free energy, right? So it's all
no, but the
whatever it
problem is
is.
the storage, the transport. It's obviously negative EV. But if you can get to Japan level of recycling, then it's worth it.
It's not always negative EV though. Like aluminum.
Okay, well, not aluminum.
Aluminum
Not fucking
is
aluminum.
like 90% recycled because there's just like no new aluminum ore anymore.
Exactly.
So like there are situations where it makes sense.
Okay, so I'm so glad our old colleague Carrie yelled at us so much about composting that I actually compost now. I gotta say, composting is a win, an obvious win. Better than recycling for the most
But you
part.
also just can't compost anything, right? Like the worms only eat certain things. So you can't actually compost anything organic. You don't just heap that onto a pile and dirt comes out,
Totally. I used to not believe in composting, and then I finally was taught the math, and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm wrong.
How did you not believe in composting? Like, can you unpack that for me?
I think I used to not believe in
not
recycling.
exist as like a scientific process?
No, I just didn't. I didn't
Process?
do the research to know that composting was obviously a good thing. I didn't grow up in a composting family or a farming culture.
What's
or
the alternative though? You just
Throw it in
throw
the
your
trash.
banana peels into the landfill?
Yeah, exactly.
But then doesn't it just compost in there?
Okay, so the problem with that is it doesn't compost effectively to become regenerative, right?
Because it's mixed with
Yeah.
other things. So it's like there's leaching.
It's just waste. It just becomes bigger waste volume,
Right. So the whole point of composting is to not use up the landfill space.
Correct. And then also becomes good usable material too.
But we have infinite space here.
And this is true, and this is true, and that's why I would say that's the argument for landfilling.
Like
in
I don't
general.
compost. I think it's a waste of time.
So, but remember,
I believe that it exists. I just think
but it's not a waste of time
cares?
because it becomes a valuable product, right? Like it's becoming a valuable soil.
If you had yourself a nice, and if you had a nice garden, like it becomes
Okay,
a
wait,
useful product.
Perry, this
if
is
you
a
use it
this is
at
a
all.
perfect example. Chris doesn't live in compost, and he doesn't fucking compost. Explain it to him.
I believe the
Doesn't do it.
process of
But it's not something he
composting.
needs.
Why
Why does
would-
Chris have to care about it?
But Chris
Do we have a
believes in
dirt shortage?
Wait, do you recycle your cans?
I recycle cans.
Why not throw away your cans? We have lots of landfill. Just do it. Who cares?
No, we don't. But the aluminum gets recycled. It's
Well, so does the dirt. Like the dirt is a shortage. You want good topsoil. You want good quality. Like composting creates good soil, which gives us flowers and food and stuff. Right, Perry? Can you tell me the white version of this? I assume you know
you're
more.
probably doing better than I can.
so. What are
I
you
don't know a whole
composting?
lot.
Are you composting in your backyard, or are you just
Well,
tossing it into
that's
a
what
green
I would
bin?
like to get to. But I compost in the green
am.
bin.
You're
Yeah.
composting in the mandated green bin that you have to pay for.
Yes.
That's That doesn't seem like you're going out of your way.
I want to get a composting bin. I want to get a composting bin for my house where I can actually do proper
right,
compost.
but you haven't.
But I have been composting for like 6 or 7 years now. You know.
So like, turns out composting started in piles. You don't actually need a bin for it.
No. The bin is where the city hauls
That's
your
the white
waste.
version, the farmer's white version.
You get off of it.
So actually, I would say
Wait.
on the topic of we have a lot of space for garbage, then you take somewhere, this is where other parts of the world that are more polluted, you kind of show you what happens when you run out of places to dump garbage. They have to burn it. Places like Bali or Indonesia, and your air quality becomes shit, and people are burning garbage, and there's like not enough collection for it. There's no sorting or recycling. So I mean, obviously, we're a long way from that in Canada because we have tons of space, but. Like that's the end state that you can reach, right? If you don't deal with garbage collection. I mean, even say like in Mexico, right? If garbage collection is once a week and then garbage collection goes on strike more often, we don't really have interruption of service. It's like an essential, right? I don't think they ever strike here, right? But it's pretty shitty when garbage doesn't get collected and it builds up for a few weeks, right? Like it's really gross. Attracts like bugs, mice, rodents. Just stinks. It's unsightly. Makes it difficult to walk.
Our western cities, even like a few days of not having garbage collection is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
You see that in the Highlands. So like the Highlands is pretty underfunded for a lot of things. So like there'll be 2 days where you get delayed, and people like 2-bedroom family homes will have 6 bags of garbage sitting on the street for 2 days because they just produce so much trash.
I don't know why I produce 6 bags of garbage.
You'd be surprised.
Oh yeah, that's part of the thing I'm getting at. Like it's insane of how much trash we produce.
You'd be surprised.
A lot of it is like take packaging.
I mean, do you order a lot of stuff online?
Nah,
because most people get tons of Amazon packages, and there's tons of packaging. It's like your box within a box with a plastic wrap around it.
That's why recycling is third in line, because you're actually supposed to reduce, then reuse, and then recycle.
Totally.
But somehow we've changed that and made recycling the priority.
That's wrong. Totally wrong. Yeah.
Exactly. So reduction should be number one.
I think for a lot of people that's like the lowest barrier to entry, right? It's like I can feel good by saying I recycle. To actually reduce is hard because you actually have to make conscious decisions of what am I buying? Do I need it? Is there a better way to buy it? And then reusing it is like, oh, am I going to patch my jeans that I've had for 10 years, or am I just going to replace them? Or am I going to get my brand new phone even though I've had it for a year and a half? Those are hard decisions. It's easier to say oh, I recycled.
Yeah, I put the triangle in the triangle hole, and I'm a good person.
I mean, the system doesn't really reward you for reducing, right? People love their consumerism. They love new shiny things. They love the convenience of getting something right away or the next day.
I think my biggest pet peeve is fast fashion. I just fucking.
Hey, nobody's commented on my on what is this called? Do you guys know what this is called? This is called
cardigan. Your cardigan.
Well, according to the younger age demographic, this is called grandma core.
Grandma core.
Which is old school vintage.
I was gonna say it's quite unisex.
Well, it kind of works. My friend. Okay, wait. Shout out to my friend Steph opening up a vintage store in Inglewood right now.
We need to go to that.
Bridgeline. It hasn't opened yet. 2 weeks. It's called Scavenger. It's opening in 2 weeks. Grand opening. You gotta go see it. That's where you get some grandma core.
Is that where you got that from?
I got this because I'm an advisor and I helped. But yeah.
I mean, I think it looks all right on you. I can only see the top third of it, so.
Yeah, I mean, when I don't know if I want to stand up and twirl for you there, Perry, but I'll show you later.
Why not?
I think it's a good fit for a crypto conference or
You think I can wear this to a crypto conference? Wow, I mean, maybe. So. I might.
So.
Right.
Yeah.
I might do it. Yeah.
Surely that'll give you credibility because you're old school, right? Either that or you can you can be the sleeper. People will think you know nothing.
Oh man, I just heard this new trend actually where celebrities are wearing wired earbuds again because it's oh, I'm poor. I'm just one of you. I don't need to demonstrate my wealth. And now people are going back to wired earbuds.
Wow, that's a weird regression.
I mean, I was thinking about it as I was walking through some of the giant electronic stores here. You can buy wired earbuds, and like
Yeah, the problem
I could
is
buy a top end of like Shure buds for
there's
100
nothing to plug
pounds.
them into. There's no holes in the new phones.
Yeah.
You have to get like an adapter.
I mean, you've got
USB-C to it?
USB-C, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do the USB-C adapter, which I haven't done enough research, but like I don't know what downgrade of quality that is. I have no idea. But it was like it's kind of that like if you want to buy hi-fi, yeah, you can get a pair of Shure buds for 140 quid or what is that, like $200. Whereas like your top end hi-fi earbuds, you're spending 500 pounds or $1,000.
I mean, in the same vein, have you seen the trend? I think it's big in Japan too. Like, there's like people like a certain iPhone camera look. I think it's like the iPhone 4 or the iPhone 5. And so people literally like will buy them, and they actually have like a huge premium, and they take them on holidays because they love the look of it, because it's like a bit,
Oh.
a little bit. It has like a certain grain
It's like
and
the
a certain
sepia filter on Instagram.
a bit to it, but it's
Oh.
like there's I can't remember exactly which one it is, but it's either the 4 or the 5, and it's like a specific look, and people will literally look for retro
I
phones.
feel like those
to
are
document
the
that way.
best iPhones. I think before iPhone 6 were all like premium.
I threw
great.
all my old phones away.
I still got some. I never had.
I still have my
had-
iPod Touch.
Didn't
though.
recycle them, Chris.
I still got I got original iPod Touch still.
No, I threw them in the ocean, Perry.
Sounds like a story. I don't know what this is.
Attaboy, giving a fish somewhere to live, right? They can
It's
live
just
in those
it's just a
things.
joke.
They
Yeah,
become
I heard.
coral.
I heard when you put tires in the ocean, they turn into coral reef somehow. I thought that was a total fucking failure.
10,000 years later.
Who would have
maybe.
thought that didn't work?
It's an artistic shipwreck. We leave it here, the coral grows on it, and it's created a new ecosystem.
Edwin, it's not even a shipwreck though. They just dumped a bunch of old tires. That's the best business decision ever. They just convinced a bunch of environmentalists that it might work.
Yeah, but then what about the ones where it's like, oh yeah, there was a ship that sank here. It's like, oh, should we remove it? Oh no, in 50 years it's developed into a blossoming ecosystem for the local fish to enjoy, right?
Yeah.
That
Don't-
bunker oil really helps.
Yeah.
I mean, so on the topic of like the wired headphones and the things like the old iPhones, there's like this huge push for nostalgia. It covers kind of the stuff that we were talking about before, Pokemon, and like this movement for old things. You see all these bands from the 90s, 2000s that are playing so many things nowadays, whether it's like Stampede or big concerts, like comeback tours. I mean, what do you think about the huge market for nostalgia, and especially like our generation, right? Like so many things appeal to us from the 90s, 2000s, and we had good digital reproductions of things at the time, so it's easier for you to capture that nostalgia compared to people who grew up in the 60s or 70s where, like, oh, they remember a concert, but it's like, hey, look, we actually have like an audio recording of like a concert for like 95, or like maybe some really bad quality video or something. There's like such a big movement for nostalgia. What do you guys think about that?
I think we're like the internet generation though, where we actually went from dumb phones to smartphones, right? Like even now there's like Gen Zs and Gen Alphas, and I've hired them for like campus recruiting. There are technical people that like work for me, and they can't touch type because they basically grew up texting with their thumbs, right? So I think I think nostalgia actually hits us particularly hard because we actually lived that analog to digital transition. And like people older than us were only analog, and people younger than us were only digital. So like we get the nice privilege of actually having seen that transition, and so I think maybe that's why it's more popular among the millennials.
Are you saying then like that nostalgia has like an analog component to it? So you don't think the Gen Z's, Gen Alpha will have something to be nostalgic about in 10 years' time?
Gen Alphas are actually buying up like iPod Nanos and shit just to experience it, right? So they're actually seeing it for the first time.
Whoa, is that like buying vinyl for us? Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
god,
like buying
that's
vinyl.
hilarious.
It's like vinyl's making a comeback, right? Like so.
Wow.
But for us, it's nostalgic because we experienced it. I say the new generations, they're actually wanting to experience that for the first time. So you see like iPod
I'm
Nanos
wondering,
and the
like,
old school iPods with the wheel being sold again. Or like people going back
is
to
that
like
generation
landlines.
gonna have elements? But are they gonna have elements like they grew up with? Like, are they gonna get nostalgic for the iPhone 16 or whatever it is now? Or like, I don't know what's new content like. Are
The
they
Gen
gonna
Zs
get
I see, like I
nostalgic
see
for?
people are fucking shooting with Polaroids again. But the Polaroid camera
I've seen
bodies, they have Bluetooth connectivity. So the Polaroid can actually print Polaroids of anything on your phone. It doesn't have to have been shot by the
Right.
camera. So it's like a Polaroid with a twist. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So
Yeah, I see
I think that's how we're experiencing like old becoming new. It's new, but it's still connected. It has like a microchip in it.
I mean, I would say like nostalgia is the reason why things like Marvel became so big. Because like it was all the comic book crowd that just got so excited to see something that they loved come into a different medium.
I think
And
the
then
pendulum
kind of got overwhelmed by it.
the pendulum is swung
Yeah.
too far. Now it's just like lazy Hollywood where there's actually like no
Yeah.
original
Oh,
screenwriting anymore.
Yeah, like you have like Super
Yeah.
Mario Galaxy where they have like a cameo from Star Fox, right? Stuff like that. Stuff that hits like the kids who play games in the '90s kind of
But
nostalgia.
Adil
There's
made a
no
good
new
point.
content.
Adil made a good point yesterday though. He was just like, Chris, we're like aging out of that target demographic that like ads are for. So it's like when you see an ad now and you don't like it, you got to remember like it's not for you. It's for like the 25 to 35 or what is it? What is the target?
24 to 35 demographic is primary demographic, and it's the most profitable demographic as well, right? So I'm sure it's slowly scaling up as the age moves upwards. But overall, I think the way I'm thinking about it is from a business perspective, I need to not just be narrow-minded in what I like. It's what is 24 to 35 like. I'm not in the primary anymore. So whenever I think about profitable choices or businesses, I gotta get rid of my own bias. Remember when most of my business career was building businesses when I was in the primary demographic, and you gotta remember you're not anymore. So don't just build for yourself, right? If you want to be profitable, but
It's kind of sad being aged out of it. I think.
yeah. So I mean, ads you're totally right about as well. I mean, you get targeted in so many different ways.
But I mean, I'm sure you could still make money. So if like you're building a business, if your goal is money making, and it's not like Chris's new endeavor, whatever it is, which is just going to be for fun, right? Where it's like there's got to be still segments or opportunities to make money. Like
No,
you're not
without
gonna be
question.
hitting the
I mean, so I was looking at
profitable market, but I mean like people our age have money if they're not spending it on kids, right? So
but remember, there's just less of them, and you're,
Yeah.
but don't you feel the feeling of like your parents' age of like being a little thriftier about like not spending your money frivolously because you're just a little more wise. You don't wait, Perry. You don't find that you're still frivolous with your money. I think
I've kind of always been an old soul, so or maybe the other way around. I've always been frivolous. I don't know. I go back and
Do you
forth
see it?
between things.
I know you cook at home a ton more
I
now.
think it's actually the opposite. I feel like I've actually been raised and been too frugal, and I actually am trying to spend more.
Yeah,
So
well,
I think that's actually that's actually it's like the complete opposite. I mean, I like cooking, but it's not like I don't. It's just because I don't really like. I just don't find personal value out of eating out. I mean, like going out here is like not enjoyable for me.
Okay, well,
so
I've been
it's
noticing.
like,
Well, you've been spending on a personal trainer, which is new to you, right? But I think you scale back some things and you scale up other things, right? Which is kind of the concept.
But
I think the concept is though like that, the primary demo spends money frivolously.
I think it's
Is kind of the concept.
It's kind of
so that's where profitability lies.
Well, I'd say it's a little different because it's like a self-selection bias, right? You look at your circles, right? Like if you are in a pretty comfortable financial spot, you have other people that don't have kids, or they're very comfortable where they are in their life, then they're more likely to be health maxing, focusing on their diet and fitness, and because they're not like, oh, I worked a 10-hour shift and I just want to order Domino's and then I gotta put the kids to bed and feed them pizza, right? So I don't know. I think there's a little bit of self-selection. Like everyone I know is like more into doing fitness activities, or whether it's like running, cycling, gym, playing sports. Right? Like I feel, yeah.
How do you feel about this new sauna cold plunge trend where there seems to be like 10 of these just popped up in Calgary overnight?
I think that's where people go to beat people and pick up. Like it's like in other cities, like things like Run Club, like it's like in Thailand, like people join Run Clubs. It's like a place to meet people. I think they also use it for dating. But then Run Club usually segues into going into like a cold plunge place after, and you hang out there for an hour. And it's like kind of self-selecting because it's like people that are doing these activities tend to be in better shape.
I can actually vouch for that because I did like a social night run in Dusseldorf, and then I downloaded Strava for it,
Mhm.
and then literally people added me that were there, and some of them were hot.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing activity together, releasing endorphins. I mean,
Wow.
yeah.
I just joined a run
Oh.
club. Like,
I feel like this goes back to what I suggested. Do things that you're enjoying, and you'll find the women.
Shut up, white guy. The be yourself
Back
advice
to the
just falls so
expression.
flat.
I
What
mean,
if I hate myself? I can't be myself. No.
I don't know if it's even be yourself. It's just when you find something you
work
enjoy.
on that part.
Perry, I think there's a big question here. The question is,
Yeah.
do you want to find your equal of the other gender? Do you want to date yourself from the other gender, or is it wise to get out of your own circle?
It's
and
not
meet?
about dating yourself. It's about finding someone who has at least some shared interests. Like,
course.
so whatever that
Of
is,
course.
right? I don't want to have somebody that is my exact personality that I spend every waking moment with, because then you have no stories to tell each other, no experiences to build off of, no growth at all. So like, but you want to have that, maybe that priority thing that you
So wait,
have in
are you
common.
saying you
Doesn't-
need to date a climbing girl because that's your priority thing? Like that's the goal here.
It's pretty close, yeah.
Okay,
I've
okay.
tried to date like non-climbers and non-mountain people, and it becomes, it's like if you hate the in-laws, like you're just never going to want to spend time with the in-laws. And if your partner loves their parents, like it's always going to feel like a trade-off when you're going to spend time with them. You have to always compromise. Whereas like if my primary activity is climbing or being in the mountains, like I don't have to have an argument or discussion with a partner to be like, oh, I want to be in the mountains this weekend. And she's like, oh, but I want to go to a city and drink cosmopolitans. And like, well, that's good. You go do that. We're not going to have anything in common.
I mean, it's a big
So-
enough part of your life and your personality and the things that you like to do that, you know, almost certainly anybody that you meet that you're going to be compatible with is going to be adjacent to the activity, right? Because it takes up enough of your
Yeah.
time, and you know, you go on trips for it. You know, you make it a big part of your life. So I don't see how you could possibly be compatible with someone that's not into that, right? Like you'd have to be like completely separate.
No,
Yeah.
I've tried to have like an open mind, be like, well, maybe I don't need to date a climber, but it turns out, yeah, they need to be adjacent to that. You're absolutely right. And yeah, so I just accept it.
But running, I think, like you know, some people make running their entire personality, but I think a lot of people also just, you know, they do run club when they are single because they're brought along by single friends, and you know, like it's kind of like a, you know, pretty accessible activity. And then like they also end up at like a brewery or something after, so it's like fun in that sense. And then you know that's where the social saunas and stuff like that come into handy because it's like, you know, it's trendy. You know, it's you know, people go there after doing a run. They've released endorphins and they wear less clothes.
Totally.
But I feel like there's a lot of cultures that have, you know, learned about things like sauna and cold plunging long before us North Americans did. Like it's Japan, like the public baths, the onsens. I mean, the Romans and the Greeks did public baths thousands of years ago.
It's totally different
And
though,
for
right?
some,
Like you go to an
So,
onsen,
what do you
it's
mean?
it's you and a bunch of 40, 50-year-old businessmen, and it's like segregated by gender, right? It's a little bit different, and you know everyone's discreet and not
Yeah, that's
talking.
true.
It's not a social thing, right?
Yeah, we have social saunas now, Perry.
Yeah,
There's
if you're a
number of them.
guy,
yeah,
I mean, like I think like gay guys like apparently like saunas are a thing for gay guys, right? Where like they go to like they use saunas as
yeah,
like
the
a
gay
thing.
bathhouses are
As
massive.
old as
Yeah.
time itself, Edwin.
Yeah, the gay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well-
the gay bathhouse. That's where you go to pick up.
So this is a maybe an interesting segue, but I was using this app when I was in Bangkok called not
Grindr?
not for gay bathhouses. So it was interesting. This is actually a good story. Okay, so
this is going great. Like I'm here for it. Like
So-
I'm
so-
here for you, Edwin. Whatever.
so typically
you
people
wanna
use
talk
like
about.
a meetup or something, right? But now I found this app called Nomad Table. And so Nomad Table is like a meetup app, and it's only big in certain cities. But basically, travelers who are there for a shorter time can make an activity. You have a little map, and instead of it being as formal as meetup, where it's like 150 people going to something, you can literally be like, "Hey, I want to go to Chinatown. I want to go for let's go like techno clubbing or something." Right? You can make an event, and like that's where that's how I noticed like, oh, like these sauna events with like a fucking colorful flag on it. I was like, there's like, because I'm not a Gen Z, I don't know what all these different emojis mean on stuff now. I've never used a dating app, so it's like, there's like a different code for these things. So where I was going with this app is I actually met the founder for this. It's a one guy team, and he was pushing really hard with different user generated content, and he would go viral for things because like, they'd be like, I'm never deleting this app kind of thing. And someone's in Tokyo, and there's like an event called like go to a mommy milkers clubs to suck on some big ones or something, right? And then like like the guy's eyes go really big, and it's like he's like, oh, I'm using this app, and they do this with all sorts of like ridiculous sounding events that are like kind of like exaggerated versions of different things that exist in different cities, right? And he had made he was basically paying content creators a lot of money to make user generated content like this, and now he's over $100,000 revenue a month as a one-person team, like using vibe coding and then using AI for a lot of other things. Super cool.
So it's just Tinder for nomads.
It's not even for dating actually. Like it's literally just for doing activities. Like I've made friends off this. It's like let's say you want to go do an activity, but you're traveling solo, or even just like you want to find out about different things going on there. Not a thing in North America yet, but it was there in Bangkok. I think Perry, if you take a look in Japan, there's probably a lot of events for it. But it's pretty cool because like people go for a couple of weeks. You can chat in a group, or you can chat about an activity. I think like the conversion rate of actually doing something is not necessarily that high, but because like people are just kind of scouting out things to do.
It makes total sense. I'm surprised that doesn't exist. It didn't exist sooner.
I think people use like hostels for that previously, right? You're like, I'm in a new city, I'm going to stay in a hostel, or like Hostel World has like these kind of activities. But like now, like
you're not in a hostel because you're
not in a hostel, right? Exactly. Like, hey, I'm not staying in a hostel, but this is a cool way to kind of have that same sort of activity vibe, right?
Digitize the analog space.
I was just impressed. I did like a co-working meetup, and one of the guys was there, and he was, had the API for it open and stuff, and I didn't really connect the dots until later that he was actually the creator for it.
What's the name of the one in Calgary that Victor uses? What is that called?
Time Left.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's a dinner app where you meet up with people on Wednesday for dinner.
So similar, like where they do.
My friend in Dusseldorf did it actually.
Oh, wow. So I know we have a couple of people who do it here in Calgary, and I gotta say the circle is pretty cool. It's not that bad.
You said it's expensive though.
I don't know. But,
how are they making money? Are they?
They charge you per group that you group up, from my understanding. So, like, let's say you buy a 4-pack for 120. They give you an event. You still pay for your own bill at the event, but you've paid the table to kind of match you with people that are of similar interests, age, etc.
Yeah, it's a little older to be honest. Like, it's not young 20-year-olds. It's mid 30s, mid 40s.
Yeah, it makes sense. The 20-year-olds can't even afford that. They can't afford to go out.
Well, I think you can also choose like your price point for places, but I think Victor said like they went to like one was like a steakhouse, so he's like he's paying $30 for the prearranged meat and like via the app, and then he's also paying $110 for his meal there, and he's like, yeah, I didn't really want to keep in touch with any of the people from that dinner, for example, right? So
he did or didn't?
Didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you occasionally get a hit. Like he made one really good friend off of there. I know. I met through him, and there's some really cool people. Mm-hmm. Actually, the other meetup we went to the other day was, which I thought was really interesting, was a philosophy meetup.
The coffee shop?
No, not the coffee shop. Literally a meetup. Okay, this is
to talk about philosophers.
So wait a second. No, similar, but okay. So here's how it worked. There was 40 people in this like venue, it was like a pub or whatever. We split up into 5-person tables, but one person at the table is like a senior person who's like a moderator, and they kept us on track. And then similar like speed dating, in speed dating where you have like there's like if you can't talk to anybody, you read the default questions.
But it's just for socializing, not dating.
Do single people, do people who are not single ever go to these kind of things? I feel like everything is like kind of like speed dating coded.
Well, I mean, I feel like
sometimes they frown upon it if you just start hitting on everybody though.
Well,
that's not the point.
Yeah, I think that's not the point of them. But I mean, it's also like I think people go there to meet new people and on these topics, right? So.
I think just different methods.
I mean, I used Meetup when I was not single years ago. Like my girlfriend and I just would go to meet people in general. So yeah, you can like it doesn't have to be.
And I know
it doesn't have to be single coded.
And I know lots of girls use it that way. I don't think it works for men, but I know like tons of women use Bumble BFF to meet friends.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it worked for guys. It'd just be gay hookups. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I tried to use it to meet friends. It was it
was it gay hookups? No.
It just didn't it just felt wrong. Like I don't know why, or like if like generally men or us typically raised men like meet differently, but it just felt weird. Like it did not feel natural, and I didn't like that part of it. I don't know. But no, it wasn't just gay hookups. Maybe it was, and that's why it didn't feel right to me.
There needs to be some sociologist doing like a PhD on it. It's like, why does Bumble BFF only work for women?
I didn't even know that was a thing. There was like
I wonder if
exactly.
maybe women are generally more acceptable to like their bi curiosity, and so like that level of like potentially romantic engagement is not a barrier, whereas like we're so homophobic. Or no, you don't think so?
I think it's a danger thing. Like, two women meet up, they can't really fuck each other up because they're just two chicks. But like, if I Bumble BFF like a dude, like I could be raped, and I think there's something there.
That's true. Okay. Yeah. This is why women don't like dating men in general. Yeah.
It's why they pee together.
But I actually, using the Nomad Table thing, I made two good buddies in Bangkok. Like ones that I kept in touch with and hung out with and did other activities with, right?
It works.
So like actually, like it was like, you know, it's pretty good because you can self-select. It's not as big as Meetup. And I would say like because I was traveling on my own, like if I was traveling with my partner, like we definitely wouldn't have gone to these kind of things because it's like I feel like when you're a couple, you kind of just meet other couples. Like you don't really go to like, you know, personal interest things so much, right? You kind of just do like coupley things.
I think you end up taking like the easy route, and the easy route is just like hanging out together, right? It's the path of least resistance.
Or it's like, why do you want to do that? Why am I not enough for you?
And like, yeah.
on that note, I'm getting hungry, and then
it was a good place to wrap. Anybody have anything else that he knows?
I'm also getting hungry. So
all right, well, hey, good pod, guys.
Great pod.
See you guys later. Hey, stay on the line, but we're wrapping it up. Stay on the line.
Yeah.